Hello everyone. If you're a fan of the rumble of metal and the raw power of heavy machinery, this compilation is right up your alley. We've put together clips of accidents at major factories and with heavy equipment, and we can't wait to share them with you. Let's get it on. Few things are more destructive than molten metal splattering everywhere. The workers at this steel plant were shocked when the equipment malfunctioned and the molten steel began pouring onto the workshop floor. Just look at the sparks and flames. The metal's temperature was over 1,000 degrees Celsius. To make matters worse, the ladle full of molten metal was moving around the workshop. It's incredible that instead of running to safety, the workers filmed the whole incident. Towing a complex object like a 400-ton crane is no easy task. In this video from Venezuela, everything seems to be going smoothly, until the crane reaches a small hill. The truck driver suddenly loses control, turning the towing operation into a wild, uncontrollable ride. Thankfully, no workers were injured, but now they'll need another crane to clean up the mess. During hot metal rolling, if something goes wrong, the rolled piece can completely get out of control. It's ironic when safe energy sources don't live up to their name. A wind turbine in northern Texas caught fire after lightning struck one of its blades. Firefighters who arrived at the scene couldn't put out the blaze, and onlookers were left watching the mesmerizing smoke rings until the turbine was completely destroyed. This video demonstrates the risks of not following proper production protocols. At the non-ferrous metal plant, the furnace was being loaded with a charge, a mix of ore and different additives. However, against protocol, the raw material contained a large amount of water, which began to rapidly vaporize, or more precisely, explode right inside the furnace. The video demonstrating the immense power of steam. Putting wet materials into a smelting furnace can result in a massive explosion. Metallurgists say that this happens when scrap metal, stored outdoors in rain and snow, isn't adequately dried before being loaded. A unique and shocking incident occurred at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport during a snowstorm. With poor visibility and snow drifts causing difficulties, a China Airlines cargo plane lost control while landing. During an emergency maneuver, the pilots couldn't keep the Boeing on the runway, and it skidded into the baggage area. Imagine how scared the forklift driver was. As a result, one of the left engines on the plane literally sucked in a baggage cart and was severely damaged. When it comes to massive objects, the damage can be enormous. This footage shows an accident at Majiagang Wharf in China, where a bulk carrier crew miscalculated the speed. As a result, the sand-laden ship crashed into the dock, causing it to collapse. To make matters worse, a heavy rail crane that was also on site toppled over and sank completely. It was a dramatic and costly accident. The crane used for building the bridge has been irreparably damaged. The expensive machine can't be restored. You'll see that blowing a whistle is useless when it comes to stopping a massive ship. This collision took place in the port of Toledo City in the Philippines. A pier stands no chance against a cargo ship loaded with 18,000 tons of coal. The exact cause of the accident is unclear, but it's likely due to an engine failure. The weight of an anchor on a cargo ship can reach several dozen tons, so it's no surprise that handling such a giant is challenging. On this Greek ship, the anchor drop was a total disaster. Roughly a minute after dropping, a malfunction occurred in the anchor mechanism, causing the chain to unravel at a furious pace, shooting out sparks. The intense speed caused the mechanism to catch fire, the chain brake was ripped off, and the anchor, along with the chain, plunged to the bottom. When the automation system fails during metalworking, it looks like a portal to another world. This fiery serpent is a beautiful yet dangerous incident that happens during the hot rolling of metal. Such an incident is known as cobbling. It can happen, for example, when the molten metal exits the rolling mill incorrectly, creating chaotic loops around. Cobbling is particularly hazardous at high rolling speeds. In this video, the top drive of a drilling rig is seen operating normally, rotating the drill pipe during well drilling. The operator appears calm and collected, until suddenly, the equipment starts vibrating violently, and the drive collapses into the well. The likely cause could be worn-out cables that were supposed to hold the mechanism, a stark reminder of how quickly accidents can happen. This dramatic explosion is the result of extinguishing a fire in a container of petroleum products with a mixture of fire suppressant powder and carbon dioxide. The powder cools the fire area and has an inhibiting effect, while the CO2 quickly displaces the oxygen, allowing the fire to be put out in under a minute. During construction, the metal body of a dump truck accidentally hit a power line. A powerful electric arc passed through the truck, and high voltage began coursing from the vehicle into the ground. The heat from the electricity was so extreme that the air pressure in the tires spiked, causing them to explode, with one of the wheels actually flying off. A critical failure occurred at a wind turbine in New Zealand. A control system malfunction caused the blades to spin at an extremely high speed, leading to a fire, an explosion, and the collapse of the tower.
No agarraría ningún carro.
The road remained blocked because the small crane couldn't lift the billboard, leaving everyone wondering how to fix the problem.
Se fue al suelo. Yo nada más escuché el estruendo y vi ahí en medio del corredor que vos veas.
The smooth operation of two port cranes loading the ship was entirely thrown off by a snapped belt. It's quite possible that a small hidden defect in the rigging led to this mishap. During the 2003 renovation of the Harkilo power plant in the Netherlands, a major accident happened, making it one of the most expensive incidents in the industry. The mishap happened during the installation of a gas turbine, weighing around 70 tons, meant to generate electricity. As the installation was nearing completion, the crane emitted a strange metallic screech, and the turbine suddenly plummeted. Whether due to faulty winches or poor quality crane components, the result was catastrophic damage to the equipment, valued at $8.5 million. Fortunately, the two workers who were nearby when the turbine fell were unharmed. Check out this accident during the dismantling of workshop equipment. The crane operator misjudged the boom's reach and the weight of the load. As a result, the crane toppled over, and he had to quickly evacuate the cabin. Nevertheless, despite the mishap, the load was still safely lowered. If you're careless, problems tend to appear as if from thin air. Putting such heavy machinery next to the trench was a reckless move. It's sad to see such a beautiful portal crane be dismantled, but that's just the way it is. Machinery has a limited lifespan, and using it beyond that becomes unsafe. Accidental uncoupling is one of the most common types of train accidents. This video from a dashcam captures the moment when several cars broke free and started rolling on their own. They sped through the catch points and derailed at high speed, causing damage to 3 parked cars. Amazing video reveals a train accident near Harvard, Illinois. Normally, derailments are caused by problems with the track or wheels, but this incident was triggered by a tornado. A powerful gust of wind struck the train whilst it was moving. Several cars were overturned, the locomotive came to a halt, and the remaining cars continued to move, smashing right into the front of the train. The tornado's incredible force scattered the heavy train cars like they were toys. Just look at this dazzling display of sparks, flames, and smoke. It might seem like a disaster, but it's actually the normal operation of an electric arc furnace. The unique feature of this furnace is that it uses the heat from an electric arc, either direct current or alternating current, to melt the metal. The working zone of such a furnace can reach temperatures of up to 1800 degrees Celsius. This is a disastrous example of demolition gone wrong. A rail gantry crane that was supposed to be dismantled at a Romanian port collapsed unexpectedly and fell directly onto parked cars. It was incredibly risky and irresponsible. This is what a flawless demolition looks like. The 70-ton crane couldn't handle the weight of a 100-year-old oak tree segment, and even ended up tipping over.
Не зря снимали.
That time when there's no one to call for help, a grader had to drive 10 kilometers with a blown tire to reach the service station. To dismantle a powerful rail crane used in railway car repairs, key load-bearing parts are loosened, allowing gravity to take care of the rest. A reckless decision inevitably leads to failure. They probably didn't even bother to measure the exact dimensions of the structure before work.
Er komt een verband dat zijn chiplijsten verloren. Ja, die wordt het oké. Ik was er al zo bang voor! Ja, best wel een beetje.
Almost made it. The barge was just a few centimeters away from actually passing under the bridge. This training aircraft wasn't so lucky. Elision is a term commonly used in maritime navigation to describe a vessel making contact with another object, causing only minor damage. That's exactly what happened with the ship Sparta in the port of Istanbul. A small navigational error led to the dock scratching the vessel's starboard side.
Давление, давай напор! Кран, открой! Нету воды, что ли? Чё, воды нету?
There was a major accident on the drilling rig when a cable broke, leading to the collapse of all of the hoisting gear. Luckily, the workers sensed something was wrong before it was too late. Seems the driver didn't account for the tide, causing the bulldozer to get stuck in the soggy sand. The maximum wind speed allowed for operating a tower crane is 20 meters per second. Any higher, and the operation is considered too hazardous. A serious incident occurred during the construction of a sports shoe factory in Indonesia. A large metal structure, intended to be the frame for a future workshop, collapsed within seconds. It appears that design flaws caused the structure to fail under its own weight. Here's what happens when the brake tests of an electric locomotive go wrong. Due to mishandling of the airport's stairs truck in Frankfurt, the tail of the aircraft was damaged, and the plane even had to be decommissioned. The collapse of a tower crane at a factory construction site in South Korea is an absolutely epic sight. According to experts, a catastrophic breakdown is often caused by the failure of the tension cable, which leads to a loss of balance. The bolts securing the tower can't handle the stress, and the crane might collapse like a matchstick. Lifting the heavy tanker turned into a real challenge for the two tow trucks. At first, things went smoothly until the rigging cable started snapping. Do you think they eventually managed to get the job done?
They went to tire.
That time when the accident was caused by something totally ridiculous. It looks like the driver forgot that he was driving a car carrier instead of a regular sedan and tried to go under a bridge. He only realized his mistake when the pickup truck that he was transporting was crushed against the concrete. What a reckless thing to do. Video footage from San Francisco's port captured an accident during the unloading of a Chinese cargo ship. A crane lifted a construction truck high into the air to carry it to the dock. At that moment, the winches couldn't handle the load, causing the 55-ton truck to crash down onto the ship's deck. As a result, the truck's cabin was almost completely destroyed. The collapse of an oil rig on a floating platform in the Persian Gulf.
Хорошо, что не на перевале, не с горы где-то. Так вот, поломала чулок.
This is what happens during a tower crane test. The crane lifted a maximum load of 6 tons for this model and began moving it along the jib. As the load approached the very end, the crane lost balance and the entire structure collapsed to the ground. It's safe to say the test failed.